Hello again. In this instalment of Spiritual Wisdom, I'm grateful to all of you following me here and to have this little community here on YouTube. And I hope you're all doing well, and I'm grateful for your continued support of the channel as well. And, and if you're new here, welcome. I hope you're doing well. My name is Nicholas, and on my channel I talk about witchcraft, Wicca, paganism, self-love, crystals or magical properties, as well as plants and their magical properties. I do all kinds of readings here on the channel, and I talk about all matter of philosophical and spiritual topics. So if you're interested in those types of things, you know what to do. Please subscribe. By doing this, you join the amazing community by subscribing and click the bell icon so you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. And this is a safe place if you're practicing witch, Wiccan, pagan, or whatever spiritual path you be on, because there's no right or wrong spiritual path. Now today I'm going to be talking about how talking to the right people is very healing for your soul. So in life though, a lot of people may come from a generation, and some of you watching may have came from a generation where talking about your feelings, your emotions was not the done thing. You were told to stuck up a lip, to hold it all in, as well. But you might have not been brought up in a family where talking about your feelings, emotions around the dinner table, or really getting it out your system was the done thing. Now growing up, though I had a very loving family, very supportive, talking about feelings, emotions was not necessarily a big thing in my house. Like, we could talk and that, but we didn't really. But there were one person in my life who I had a deep connection with, who I could always go to and talk about things, and that was my Auntie Janet. And I feel when I talk about talking to the right person, you might love someone, you might care about them, there might be few people in your life you love, but sometimes the right person is the person that doesn't necessarily give you advice. It might, like, you might want advice to that, but sometimes people go, right, you're opening up to me. You're the other person, so the person you're choosing to open up to share your feelings with, they might approach the conversation in an unhealthy way. They might assume that you want advice or guidance. They might assume that you want advice or guidance. They might assume that, which is not a healthy thing. They might talk over you. They might let you get a few words in, but then they talk over you. And that's not what you're looking for. Now, my auntie, she had great communication skills, and she was very, though she had her own troubles, and I feel that's why my auntie was so good at giving advice to other people, and she did help people. Not that she was a professional counsellor, but in her own way she was like a counsellor. She met other people who went through troubles, issues, and she was able to give them good advice on those matters. She had a lot of patience for people because she was different, and she knew what it was like to be different, to go through hard times and to be shunned. She knew what that was like, my auntie. So, and it wasn't just me that went to her for advice. If anyone in the family had troubles, they would go to my auntie. Like, um, and there was three of us. I was the oldest, my sister, my brother was the youngest. Brother, my auntie loved him very much, loved all of us, helped him, but he never really had many worries or troubles. My sister did, but my auntie would help and talk to her, and she talked to me, and we had a lot of discussions and that. But the message I'm giving here is when you talk to the right person, it's very healing for your soul. Be that, and the right person is someone you trust. Someone you trust. Sometimes you might meet someone who's a complete stranger to you. You don't know them for Adam. They might be a psychic reader, they might be a spiritualist, but you just meet them for the very first time and you share a problem with them or an issue with them. Sometimes depending if it's a paid reading. But in my case as a psychic reader, I do meet a lot of people. Some people I know because I've met them before, I've done a reading for them, or sometimes it's people I don't really know that well. But and I do speak to a lot of people, and a lot of people are drawn to my energy, and I just, when they come in, I believe there's a reason why I've met them, and I give advice or guidance, or just be that listening ear what someone needs. I do that as well. And I feel that's part of being, and many of us who are spiritual people or even witches, we have the ability, we're very healing, or we have to get that energy to heal others. And sometimes people are just drawn to my energy, and I help them as best as I can. And I sit and talk to people, or just listen to what they have to say, where they're coming from, and then I give my perspective as what's going on, or advice as well on that matter. But the right person for you, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be someone entirely different, but it's important to talk to the right person, because if you talk to the right person, you feel a lot lighter, you feel clearer, and you feel lighter and clearer, and you don't feel as worried or stressed or intense. You don't feel that as well when you talk to the right person. However, if you talk to the wrong person, now the wrong person, just because someone's family, just because they're connected to you by blood, doesn't always mean to say that the connection's a healthy connection. You know, sometimes people, in my line of work, I've done many readings for people, and sometimes some of my clients, they're holding on to really toxic and negative family members just because they're family. When Spirit advises me, but also in my own personal advice, in that if I was in their shoes, I know it's a really tight space to be in, but if I was in their shoes, if that person was really cruel, nasty, just because they're family, I wouldn't put up with that. I would cut the line. And it's a hard thing to do, to let go of people what are not good to you, what are not beneficial for you. But if you share your problem, your upset with the wrong person, you feel 100 times worse. You feel 100 times worse, more stress is piled on, and the problem is worse. It's when you share your problem with the right person, then a problem shared is a problem halved. It's a true saying, like a problem shared is a problem halved, but only if you share it with the right people or the right person. You know, you don't need lots of people to help you. Yes, it's important to understand that sometimes an individual does need more, but you, an individual, may need more support than one person can give. That's true. But I do think offloading your feelings, your emotions, even just venting about your family troubles, your issues with the right person is very healing for your soul as well. It's very healing, very calming. And like, um, I believe when it came to my sexuality, me being gay, my auntie was sort of the first person I confided in about my sexuality and spoke to about it. And um, my auntie loved and accepted me. And then when I did come out to the rest of the family, they were loving and acceptive as well. And I was lucky that way, because there's lots of people I know like me who are gay, or um, your your sexuality may be different, and society doesn't accept your sex, your family. They don't accept you for who you are. They don't, and then that's a really unhealthy thing. But when it's coming out, like, it's horrible to be in that stage of, because when you're a gay person, you are afraid that your family will reject you, not accept you, type of thing. You're afraid of that. So in a sense, I was lucky that I had someone I was very close to, who I could confide in about that issue, who loved and supported me, and said that things wouldn't be that bad type of thing. And they weren't. And, you know, and there was one family member in my life who did say something, but related to my sexuality, what I did find quite upsetting and triggering. But when I told my auntie about this family member, my auntie said that person does love and care about you. They just have a funny way of showing it at times, and that made sense as well. So my message here is, when you talk to the right people, the right person who you trust, they'll make you feel safe. They'll make your problem feel lighter. They'll make you feel as if you've got no problem at all if you've got the right person, or someone that supports you, gives you that guidance, that advice. The right person will also sort of help you find light at the end of the tunnel. And that light at the end of the tunnel is knowledge, sometimes even a new perspective. Because my auntie, when I had a problem or issue, she helped me look at it from a new way, a new perspective. That's what she done. And she even sometimes helped me. We laughed a lot, and she always was very healing, comforting. In our conversations, we put the world to rights, and it was very healing. And it's good to have that. And talking to the right person, whoever that is for you, is very healing as well. Because holding it all in, what's in your mind, what's in your feeling, and it's okay not to be okay, or to be fine. That's okay, you know. And talking to the right person, they know you're not okay, they know what you're suffering, and they'll listen to you, they'll give you good advice and help you through that problem, whatever it may be as well. And sometimes the right person could even, not always, the right person tends to be a friend, what you've known over a period of time, or it could be a family. It tends to, more often not to be like a family member. But in some cases, the right person could be a complete stranger, someone you don't know, but then you get to know them. You get to know them over time, and then you just feel safe around that person. You feel you trust them, and you can open up to them about your problems or issues. But when it comes to talking about your problems, your issues with the right people, that's a decision that only you can make. And it comes from listening to your heart, your inner voice, and talking to the right person. The right person could be your partner, it could be your friends, it could be a family member, it could be one person, it could be several. But you know for yourself who the right people are. And it's important to communicate, because as human beings, we are social creatures, as well. We do want to talk and communicate, but talking is not the same as connection. See, you can talk to anyone if you've got the confidence. If you are, and now, I would say I was that mix between an introvert and an outwardly speaking person as a teenager, but I tended to blend in, hang about the wrong crowd, or I wanted to fit in. I wanted to find my type of people as well. I wanted to find that. And a lot of the people I hanged around were not really my type of people, type of thing, but I just tried to fit in and that. And I was not always a confident person. And I would say as a teenager, though I was interested in certain things and all that, I was lost. But like my auntie, had a really close bond with, and we talked about everything. My auntie, also my mum, who I love very much and a good bond with. My mum, my auntie, these people and even my other auntie, these people I grew up with, had a good bond with. They, helped me through that as well. But my auntie, I felt was, the right person for me. What I had a deep connection with, who helped me a lot. Also at school, one of my role models who, thanks to him, I would say, like, I was interested in this type of stuff. I was interested in witchcraft, spirituality, religions, but I didn't really know where, I think when it comes to finding your right spiritual path, it's like you're looking for a sense of home, and I didn't really know where home was, type of thing. So I did experiment with a lot of different religions, Christianity, because I was raised Christian for a time, but as I got older, Christianity just didn't feel the right fit for me. Buddhism for a time did feel like the right fit, because a lot of what was in Buddhism, a lot of the teachings, belief systems made sense. Though I'm not Buddhist today, but there was a time in my life I wanted to be a Buddhist monk, and that was a very young age. But I don't want to be a Buddhist monk anymore, but I wouldn't say the Buddhist path is for me. It wasn't home. It felt like home, but it wasn't really home. But like when I was studying witchcraft, and then that led to Wicca, like being an eclectic Wiccan witch was my practice. Wicca's a religion, so I followed the Wiccan religion, identified as Wiccan, and I was eclectic, and then also practiced witchcraft. That felt like home for many, many years. But as time went on, it's not what I didn't hate Wicca. It's not what I started to hate Wicca or didn't like any Wicca anymore. It's just I loved Wicca. I felt Wicca was a great teacher, but as time went on, it just didn't feel like home anymore. But as I started studying more and more into paganism, witchcraft, being an eclectic Wiccan, being an eclectic witch, being an eclectic pagan witch felt like the right fit. And witchcraft, for me, personally feels like home. It does. But, and my art teacher, he taught me a lot of things. He was a great role model. He taught me a lot about angel therapy, crystal therapy, and I learned a lot from him. And, I wanted to be like him in a sense. I wanted to be this wise, intelligent person, because that's the way I saw him. I even called him the wise one, because I had beautiful conversations with him, and sometimes I would be very political about things, like for example, when Maggie Thatcher did die, and people were, celebrating her death and all that. In a way, I was sort of in favour of all that, but Mr. Spence said, well, she's still a person and she has a soul too, and you should respect her energy, and that she was a person and that. So even he, helped me look at that situation from a different perspective. In my opinion on her politically, I don't agree with a lot of the things she done, but like any politician, they do what they believe to be right, and they do take actions but maybe beneficial, and maybe beneficial somewhere down the line, but a lot of people usually do suffer because there's no plan B. I mean, she did shut all the steelworks down. A lot of people were out of work, and they did suffer and all that. A lot of people suffered because of her decision. But there was no plan B for the people, type of thing. But that's another matter, as well. But I just think, and that's the message here in today's video. So the wise and spiritual message here is never healthy to bottle things up. Now, journaling is a great place to process your feelings and emotions. Journaling is a great place to do that. But sometimes, because we are human, and we are spiritual beings experiencing a human life, and as human beings we seek connection. So it's not just about talking to people or having conversations, it's more having that connection. And when you talk to the right person, it's someone you're drawn to, it's someone you trust, and it's someone that makes you feel safe. And as witches, for us, there's no one truly sacred place. There are many. A lot of us as witches, we have a great love and respect for nature, and for many of us, even for those of us who follow a pagan path, for a lot of us as pagans and witches, nature, the earth itself, is our sacred space. But the beautiful thing about witchcraft is we don't just have one sacred space, because you can have your altar, which is a sacred space. If you cast a magical circle, that is sacred space. Even just, you know, if you're, even as a psychic reader, like if you're doing a reading for someone at your altar or at a desk you've got, or wherever you're doing the reading, that place becomes sacred as well. And even if you can hold sacred space for someone else, and sometimes people are healers, they're naturally healing, but they don't know that. They don't know what they're very healing, compassionate, and but they can help other people. And I think Nanti did know in a way which she was healing and all that, but she was humble and she wasn't very confident about it. But that was one of her great gifts. She was a great healer as well. She could, and she was a great healer as well. And as a healer myself, because I do energy healing, but even when you do a psychic reading, that is a very healing experience as well. If it, it's very healing, a psychic reading, because yes, it does tell you about what's happened in your past, what's going on now, but it gives you guidance, it gives you advice. And when you talk to the right person, it's them, or it's that individual or individuals holding sacred space. It's meeting you where you're at. They're finding a space where two of you feel safe, you feel comfortable, and you're able to talk to this person or people about what's in your mind, what's upsetting you, and what's getting you down about life. And then that other individual is able to listen to you, listen to every word, and then they're making sense of what you've told them. They're trying to give you, their way of helping you is giving you advice or guidance in the situation, or even helping you look at the situation from a new perspective as well. And that's what, talking to the right person does. It's very healing and it's good for you. And they do say with that old saying, a problem shared is a problem halved. The only bit they leave out is you don't want to share your problems with the wrong people. And I think a lot of people, they have been afraid, or you may be watching this, maybe you've been afraid to talk about your mental health struggles or your fears or worries, because you were afraid with the person you were going to talk to, they were going to laugh at you, they were going to judge you, be very cruel and nasty. And if you meet someone like that, then that person's a-hole, so to speak, and they make your problems, your stress, anxiety worse. But if you talk to the right person, you do feel safe, you feel lighter, and you feel a lot better. So it's important to talk to the right people about your problems and issues as well. Until next time, stay safe, look after yourself, walk your spiritual path with pride, and if you're a pat so much at me, stay witchy. And that's the wise message for today. Talk to the right people. Talk to the right person or the right people about your struggles, your issues, because it will be very healing for your soul as well. Till next time, blessed be. May meet, may part again.